look at growth in 2019 for Russia, we're probably assuming a lower growth in 2019 than we saw in 2018. So right now our forecast is around 1.4, 1.5%, and we think this is going to perhaps even pick up a little bit in 2020. For the world economy as a whole, we see a slower growth than what we've seen in the past few years. We don't see a worldwide trend toward recession. We see more slower growth in the US towards the trend line, slower growth in Europe towards the trend line, slower growth in Japan towards the trend line. So what does it mean for the US? Perhaps around 2%. For Europe as a whole, perhaps 1.5%. For Japan, perhaps slightly above zero. The asset management industry is an industry tied to GDP growth. And when we think about the opportunity that this means for us in the long term, because we think very much long term in the asset management industry, it's about Asia-Pacific region, which is where we're going to see the greatest growth opportunities. So for us, that is the opportunity we see. The threat, or at least the challenges that the industry faces as a whole, is that right now we're in a transition mode. The asset management industry was probably an industry where technology and digitalization came in later than in other industries. And so that creates some tensions in the transition. And what me as a CEO I'm trying to do is make sure that we are staying at the forefront of change in that respect to deliver better value to our clients, to be more relevant, and to improve our investment processes. SPIF is a window on Russia. So often it has been described as the Davos of Russia. I wouldn't go that far. I think it is really about how do you think about the Russian economy and Russia's place in the world. And in that respect, it's always an interesting window to hear the various panels, to sit on the various conversations. I sat on a panel yesterday about ESG, very much a worldwide phenomenon, but it's interesting to see the Russian perspective on ESG, where the focus is probably more on G than on E, when in other geographies it's probably the reverse. So it's interesting to have that perspective. Of course, we think long term. Russia is a large country. The savings rate is there. The middle class is growing, although there's a challenge in terms of population growth. So I'd like to believe that over time, this is a market which will open itself up to people like us.